Hi guys, this is Cole, the new seminarian at St. Patrick's Parish, Markham. Today I've got a video lined up for you where I'll be talking about a special feast we have in the church called Christ the King. I really hope you enjoy the video. There are different kinds of years in our lives. There's the calendar or civil year, which ends December 31st and begins January 1st. There's the school year, which begins in September and ends in June. In the church, we follow something called the liturgical year. This year has its own rhythm and seasons, and this week it's coming to an end. The end of the liturgical year, like the end of the school year or the civil year, is marked with a feast, which is like a party for your soul. On feast days, we mark a special occasion and rejoice in thinking about what God has done for us on that day. The feast at the end of the liturgical year is called the Feast of Jesus Christ, the King of the universe. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. It can be kind of hard for us to understand what a king is because most of us have never seen a king. Canada is a democracy, which means that it is governed by its citizens rather than by a single person. But a king rules a kingdom. He is the boss. If his kingdom is like your school, he is the head principal. In the ancient world, kings were far more common. Usually, there would be one guy in your tribe or region who was stronger or smarter than everyone else, and he would take control of your group, usually with violence. Typically, kings became kings because everybody else was afraid of them. And then, once they were kings, they tried to beat other kings in their neighborhood by going to war. Being a king was stressful too, because you never knew who was interested in taking your kingly power away from you. The great poet and playwright Shakespeare wrote, "Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown." A king could never relax because he knew that everyone around him was a potential competitor and might betray him. So what is the Bible trying to say when it calls Jesus a king? Why do we celebrate the feast of his kingship this week? The first thing we notice is that Jesus is a fundamentally different kind of king. He isn't the king because he's stronger and scarier than everyone else. He didn't become king by beating out his competitors. He's not afraid of any other kings. He's not in competition with anybody else. And he can relax. He doesn't have to worry about anyone taking his kingship away from him. The second thing is that his kingdom is a fundamentally different kind of kingdom. He doesn't own any castles, command any armies, or demand any taxes. His kingdom is a spiritual kingdom. That means that it exists wherever someone in their heart acknowledges him. He doesn't force his kingship on anyone. He gives us the freedom to choose whether or not we want to be part of his kingdom. And fundamentally, being part of his kingdom, acknowledging him as our king, the king we choose to serve, is a good deal. It means that we can live with the same serenity and security as our king. Just like our king, we don't have to work at being stronger and smarter than others. We don't have to beat back any competitors. And we don't have to worry about somebody taking away our place in his kingdom. Once we choose to belong to Jesus' kingdom, we're automatically free from all the kingdoms on earth that might try to dominate or control us. Belonging to Jesus' kingdom means total spiritual freedom. But as a great movie you are probably too young to have seen puts it,
remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility. If I had to sum it up in one phrase, I would say, Jesus is the King of the universe because he is the universal servant. He serves every single creature in the whole universe. He was there when they were made at the beginning of time, helping to make them. He holds each of them in existence at each moment.
For by him all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things were created through him and for him, and he is before all things, and in him all things hold together.
And he makes sure that the entire creation, the whole universe with us at its center, finds its ultimate fulfillment, its ultimate happiness in him at the end of time. So belonging to this king means belonging also to his kingdom of love and service. And that kingdom begins with yourself. Why not allow Christ the King to personally serve you? He tells us in the Bible, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and dine with him, and he with me." Will you choose to belong to his kingdom? Allow him into your heart and life with words like these. Jesus, my King, I trust in you. Come and be a part of my life. And then sit back and be attentive for the signs of his presence that he will certainly leave. The more Jesus the King becomes a part of your life, the more you will feel the peaceful freedom that comes from belonging to his kingdom. He will transform you into a happier, freer, more loving, wise, compassionate, courageous, and caring person. So this weekend, at the end of the liturgical year, remember that Jesus is just outside the door of your heart. The King is ready to come in and serve you. Why not try opening the door?